Um, so I guess my message today is interestingly, about Passover and Shavuot and how it connects with today's parsha of Tzav, right? And so, we gather every year. We gather for Pesach, and there's this part in the Seder where the little boy or a little child will say, "Why is this night different from all the other nights?" Right? And one of our sages, Rabbi Shaul of Amsterdam, he said that probably the children back in temple times, or, and further back, not nowadays, but the children back in temple times would have noticed that Pesach was very much like a Todah offering, a Thanksgiving offering, because you have your sacrifice and you have this, different breads, and you eat, and you have to eat it all at once. You have to eat it all in that one evening, and it's like Pesach. It's like Pesach, right? It's very similar to Pesach, a Thanksgiving offering. But there's one difference, a big difference, right? And the difference is the matzah, right? The difference is the unleavened bread. So the Torah portion of Zav teaches us in Leviticus 7, verse 11 through 12, this is a law of the sacrifice of peace offerings, which one may offer to the Lord. If he offers it for a thanksgiving, he shall offer with the sacrifice of thanksgiving unleavened cakes mixed with oil, unleavened wafers anointed with oil, and cakes of fine breaded flour mixed with oil. So we have two unleavened cakes or wafers, and then we have these cakes of fine breaded flour. They're full of chametz, right? They are very leavened, right? So we have both leavened and unleavened bread for the Thanksgiving offering. Thanksgiving offering was usually given after some type of life-threatening thing that happened to you. So maybe you crossed the ocean, you had a long voyage, or maybe there was a close accident that you almost died from, or you got sick and you got healed from it, that kind of thing, a major illness, right? So that's why you would come to the temple and you'd give this Thanksgiving offering, and it was a big giant party. You would have to bring as enough people to eat up all this bread and this meat offering that you were giving, so to make it so it won't be wasted. You need a big crowd, pretty good sized crowd. And so that's you can see these similarities, right? Pesach and Thanksgiving offering. But without the chametz, the Pesach doesn't have the chametz. All right, so if we look later on, we see Rabbi Hirsch. He explains. He looks at chametz as not a negative thing. We've probably heard other drashes of things about how chametz is the sin and we need to get rid of it. But Rabbi Hirsch is saying that chametz is risen and developed and represents like independence and maturity. It's like a full risen loaf. Whereas this bread of affliction, this matzah, it was kind of representative of like undeveloped, and you're kind of like still not necessarily in Egypt, but like growing out of Egypt. You're still a baby. You're a newborn, right? You're a newborn, and you can only handle this basic type of bread, I guess. So that's where he looked at it. But then if we look further on, and we look at, well, what happens in Shavuot? It's 50 days later, right? 50 days later, we get to Mount Sinai, we receive the Torah, and in the Shavuot, in the offerings there is loaves of chametz bread, right? These are part of Shavuot. And so, our sages put together the two and said, well, this, Pesach, and Shavuot, if you mash them together, you get this wonderful Thanksgiving offering, and it fulfills a lot of these things that we do for the Thanksgiving offering, right? We went across the sea, we walked in dry land, but we went across the sea, We escaped some slavery, some kind of life-threatening thing that happened, and we crossed the desert. We did all these things that could be, in a sense, threatening life, and yet when we got to the other side, we give this wonderful Thanksgiving offering to Hashem. Even though the first one was in Egypt, all the subsequent ones were outside of Egypt, and so we're giving this Thanksgiving offering. But then it ends all the way in Shavuot. 50 days later, you have 50 days to think about how thankful you are for being free from slavery, free from sin, and then you get to eat these beautiful, full fluffy loaves of bread, right? And it's beautiful and delicious, right? So I get all these good blessings from both holidays, right? And so that was kind of interesting. I like the way they kind of put them together and made this giant 50-day long Thanksgiving offering. Even though you could eat them only the one night and then another one night, but still, Pesach is the only one night. I think Shavuot. I don't know. I'm not sure the details on that too much, but I don't think it was. It wasn't a night thing. But anyway, so how can we, what's a practical lesson? What's something that we can do that kind of we also connects these two holidays? And I was thinking, well, we have this time, we have this 50 days. It hasn't started, but it's going to start tonight. And we have 50 days to, be thankful for, pulling us out of slavery, being thankful for doing these things. And also we should have a purpose, once we're free from slavery, we should have a purpose when we're going up towards getting the Torah. So I was thinking, or what things that we can do, maybe take this time in between these two holidays to do something, to I guess have a goal. So one goal I was thinking for me would be like Hebrew, right? Learn Hebrew better. Just spend more time learning Hebrew. It kind of fits in with if you're going to be getting the Torah, you're going to have to be able to read it, right? So learn some Hebrew so you can read that Torah when it comes to you. That's one. Number two, you can maybe study one of our other texts, Tanakh or Brahadashah, study it more in depth during this next 50 days. You could also learn a new mitzvah, or maybe existing mitzvah that perform it or do it more, or do it with more intention, more kavanah, whatever, and then maybe a last thing, maybe there's someone around you that that maybe needs help, or maybe you might have to mentor them, or just in generally just needs some help. Maybe you can be a helper, someone to help or be a help, that kind of thing. So there's many, and then these are only a few things. There's tons of different things that you guys can do during these next 50 days as we count the Omer from one holiday to the next. But just think of it. To me, I thought it was neat to think of it as a Thanksgiving offering, these two holidays together. And we are thanking Hashem every day. We should thank Hashem every day, but especially every day for the next 50 days, right? We'll be thanking Hashem. So that is my message. And tonight we're going to have another wonderful celebration. And so Shabbat, what? And we're going to have another Seder. We're going to have another Seder on Sunday night. So we're going to have two. So we're going to have one tonight, and we're going to have another one Sunday night. And so if you can't make it tonight, you can come to